2025, as with most years, many a designer bag was launched, dropped, whatever. I honestly created a list of 52. Those are just the ones that I could sort of find within a couple of hours without doing a sort of deep dive and reserving a week of my time to find out. I'm sure that there have been more like hundreds, okay? Now I've decided to select 22 of those. Why 22? I don't know. And we're going to rank them based on, I think, like general vibes, as in general reactions to the bag, popularity, and the ranking system is as follows. We have outlet special. This is I wouldn't spend full price money on this bag, and it's most likely going to go to the outlet. We then have forgettable. We have great bag, like great, nothing crazy to sort of say about it. You're going to remember it. It's not, however, top of the list, future icon. So I thought this would be quite interesting. We've got bags from Loewe, Dior, Chanel, Coach, Hermes, Fendi, Chloe, Gucci, so on and so forth. And I thought this might be quite fun. Guys, if you're new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put out videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so if you like luxury fashion, and you're probably going to love it here, sit down and subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. I also have a Substack, which will be linked below. So I have plugged all of the pictures of the 22 bags into this snazzy little tier list maker, and we're going to go through them. We're just going to do it in the order that this has ranked itself in. And we're going to start off with the Jacquemus and Fendi bag. This is a very new bag. This is the latest launch from Jacquemus. It is sort of, it's inspired by his mum, and it's meant to be a bag for everything. And obviously, sort of depending on the size, that can lean towards other things. So you can sort of have a smaller version that maybe, if you don't carry a lot with you, can do day to day, but it's also an evening bag. Or the larger version can do day to day, it can be a work bag, so on and so forth. Now, I've sort of already mentioned this bag on the channel in that I think the marketing is phenomenal. I think that it's a good bag. I think that it's a bag that kind of signifies the next stage of Jacquemus, which used to be very much novelty. I think now they're sort of going the way of like tongue-in-cheek elegance with a little bit of humour. And I think that this bag sort of encompasses that really well, because it's not quite right. As in, it's got this one handle, it's like a little bit skew-iff, but in a very sort of refined and elegant way. Anyway, what do I think of the bag? Oh, I can sort of, are you going to let me edit this? Okay, apologies. I know that we have 5 categories here, but I really only thought that we needed 4. Anyway, so based on this, what do I think? I think this is a great bag. I don't necessarily think it's forgettable. I think it's going to be something that a lot of people will have, you know, positive experiences with. But I also don't think that it's a future icon. So I think she's nicely in a great bag. Let's move on to the Fendi Spy bag. This is a re-edition of the 2000s Fendi Spy bag. I think that they've sort of rejuvenated it in a modern way very well. The original one, if you basically replicated it, would be quite cumbersome. They tended to be quite busy, a lot of studs, a lot of details, which for some people is exactly what you're looking for, and for some people it's like, I like that but more minimal. Then you have the 2025 version. Comes in a couple of sizes. Being completely honest, I don't think that this is going to hit as well as the original. And this is based on my experiences of what I've seen in Fendi outlets and whatnot. I think in a couple of years this is an outlet special. I do. And listen, there's nothing wrong with it being an outlet special, it's just that you might save your money on it. I think that Fendi has had other bag launches that are doing particularly well, and this doesn't necessarily fill a gap that was needed. The Valentino, which one is this one? The Divan. I think this is great. This is a sort of little shoulder bag, only really a shoulder bag that has launched under Alessandro Michele. And if you know anything about Alessandro Michele, this man is over the top. This man is bells and whistles, this is embroidery. These pieces feel like tiny pieces of art. They are like tapestries or heavily embellished or whatever. And I feel that as we grow into new Valentino under Alessandro Michele, then I think that this is going to be a sort of hero bag alongside that. I honestly think, and I know that this is a very bold decision, and you may not agree with my rankings here. Okay, I want to say future icon. However, what's holding me back is the fact that Valentino bags don't necessarily ascend to icon status. If you think about it, when was the last Valentino bag that you're like, oh yeah, that one, you know, we reminisce about how good that bag was? We don't really. So I would say, I don't think Valentino quite has that yet with its bags. This one might be it. I'm kind of between great bag and future icon. Let me put it under great bag. The Hermes shoulder Birkin, another re-edition, but the shoulder Birkins in the past were a 42 centimetre. These are a 29. So you've got a smaller bag here. Does the shoulder Birkin actually fit on the shoulder? No. Take that up with somebody else, okay? I know it doesn't really quite make sense, but here's the thing. I do think that this has future icon status, much like its original or its predecessor or whatever. But also, much like we've had that conversation about Valentino and the sort of like levels to which its bags can ascend to in this way, I think Hermes kind of has that as a default for a lot of its bags. So she's making, oh, we've sodded things around a bit. All right, she's making it into future icon. Let's talk about the Fendi Mama bag, the Fendi Mama baguette. I really like this. Again, this is another sort of updated version of a vintage style. I think that they've again updated these in the right ways. It sort of has this great sort of scrunch, sort of drawstring aspect to the closure of the bag, but also the sort of top of the bag where the flap comes down from. And I think that it's very user-friendly. I've seen it be really, you know, decently popular. It's not like overly hyped or anything, but I've seen people buy this and have good things to say about it. I really like this bag. I think this is something that will sort of live alongside the baguette as not quite baguette level, but like a nice, okay, I like the baguette, but I want something a little bit, you know, more user-friendly for my life or whatever that might be. And I think the Fendi Mama baguette really fits in there very, very well. The Coach Kiss Lock barrel. Coach has been absolutely killing it in recent years, and Coach has sort of had this thing where a lot of vintage Coach designs are coming back in style. A lot of, I think that people are really sort of respecting Coach for its quality, alongside the fact that it's making these trendy pieces that are, you know, hyped up or popular or trending or whatever, okay? So they've sort of got the best of both worlds here. And every time they drop a piece, especially with this kiss lock sort of aspect that they're incorporated into more designs, they sell out straight away. I am going to be so bold as to say that this is a future icon. I think anything with this kind of kiss lock, big kiss lock bag in like 10 years time, I think this bag, there's a hobo that they're dropping, I think all of those will be something that people will want to sort of look back on and buy resale in 10 years time. Is that controversial? I don't know. This is the Dior Voyage bag or Voyage bag. It's got this V in it. It's a sort of flat stitched, it's got the stitched quilting in it, but it's not padded or anything. Again, I think what's important when we talk about these bags is also the trajectory of the brand, creative directors and all of that. I don't see this sticking around. This is an outlet special. I don't think there's any way that Jonathan Anderson's going to keep that. I don't think it's going to be a priority of any of his designs. I didn't really like it anyway to begin with. I sort of was like, what is this V happening? Okay, the YSL Eclair Hobo. This is a smaller version of the very popular YSL Eclair tote that came out like a couple of years ago now. There's also an even smaller version of this. Here's the thing. I can see people buying this because YSL and their bags do very well, full stop, half of the time, no matter what the style. So whilst I think a lot of people would put this under great bag, I don't know if this is a style that is that memorable, especially if you compare it to the Eclair tote that came before it. The Eclair tote that came before it, not forgettable at all. It did very well, we know it. If somebody brings that up, you know the bag that they're talking about, all of that. This one, I'm not sure she has the same level of clout. I also, when I think of this, I think of the Bottega Jodie bags and stuff like that, so I feel like, don't hate me. The Loewe 10th anniversary puzzle bags. I wasn't sure whether or not to include sort of collection drops as a part of this, because there's this and there's another bag that we'll come to that were part of like very limited edition collections. Limited edition in its essence and in its existence means that there's a level of sort of hype around it. These to me are future icons. I think that the way they rolled this out was brilliant. I think that the ones that they picked specifically for this anniversary were brilliant, and I think that in 10 years' time, if you're on the resale market and it's like, oh, Loewe 10th anniversary, whatever, people are going to be loving it. So I think that's straight into future icon. The Gucci Giglio, Jigglypuff, Giglio is its official name. This is I'm sort of in two minds about this one, because it's a great bag, it's done very well, people really like it, it's come in some very cool variations with suede and whatnot and canvas and everything. I don't know if Demna's going to keep this, but I also don't see him letting it go. I think that this might be a constant, and I think that therefore makes it a great bag. The Alila click. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about this. When I did my video that's like luxury items that you are considering buying and what I sort of think if they're worth it or not, the click came up a couple of times, and whilst I do think it's a very interesting design, it's very cool, I personally find it very annoying to weasel into and out of. It's lasted for a couple of seasons, so it's not like it's a one and done situation, but I don't know if you put it against something like the Alila Tech or the Alila Kerr, if this is going to stick in people's minds that much over time, and therefore I'm going to put it under forgettable. The Bottega Chow Chow. I really like this bag, and I think initially when it launched, because it is like Mattia Blasi's last designed bag for the brand, it's the Chow Chow and it's the Bye Bye and whatever, we were talking about it, but the Andiamo, since it came out and since then, it has continued to, you know, keep up a really steady pace of popularity. People are still wanting to buy it. It's got loads of different use cases, and this one's sort of been forgotten about in the smooth leather. Now, whilst I don't think they're going to like get rid of it by any means, I don't think it's an outlet special. I do think that when you compare it, because it's so similar to the Andiamo, this one is forgettable. Even though I really like it and actually prefer it to the Andiamo, because I like the fact that the intrecciato weave is on the inside divider and not on the outside. I think it's a bit different, but whatever. The J.W. Anderson loafer bag, great. I think that, again, sort of much like the Jacquemus one, but more in a novelty way. J.W. Anderson is really good at these sorts of fun little quirky moments. So we have this loafer detail that you usually see on shoes interpreted into a bag. There's like a smaller, I think there's two main sizes. I really prefer it in the suede. I think the suede just has a really great feel and slouch and movement to it. I think the plain leather is a bit more stiff, but it will wear down with time and whatever. I'm sort of torn because I was going to say J.W. Anderson doesn't necessarily do future icon bags, but I am wrong, because I would put the Pigeon as an iconic bag. Does this have the same level? Or is this a great bag? I think this is a great bag. This is a great bag. The Chanel 25. Kind of like Hermes in this case. When Chanel debuts a new named bag to their roster, well, this one's done way better than the 22. People have loved this bag. This bag came out this year and it has been a huge seller for Chanel. People are really considering buying it and being talked about, and it's been released in different sizes as well. All of that. I mean, it's like one of the hottest bags of the year. And because it is named by Chanel, it sort of has this extra level of like cachet to it. And again, there are sort of a select number of brands that can do this. I think this is one of them, and I think because of that, it's future icon. You know, it's something like the boy bag, it's something like the Gabrielle and whatever, where like it might go into and out of style, but in X number of years' time, people look back and remember that bag and know it, and it has that nostalgia and that iconicism and that like, oh my gosh, I'm going to buy it on the resale market because I remember how much I loved this bag at the time, sort of thing, in my opinion. The Dior D Journey bag. Has anybody thought much about this bag? It's a very user-friendly bag. Is it so user-friendly that it's sort of like made itself boring? Maybe. I mean, it's just a sort of elongated sack with hoops. And again, I'm like, I don't see Jonathan Anderson keeping this, really. But I do think it is slightly better than the T-Void. Oh, Poor Dior, poor Dior. The Valentino nail coat bag. Very specific. Then again, it's, you know, you could say that about everything. This is a, you know, sort of crossbody boho. It's got fringe, it's got studs. It's very, feels like you should be at a festival. Feels like you should be at Woodstock, you know, with a pair of sodden flares and flowers in your hair kind of thing, which I know is the vibe of the brand. I've seen it go on sale. I don't think it has the same character as the Devin bags. Yeah, I've seen it go into the sale. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a bit of an outlet special, to be honest with you. The Louis Vuitton biker bag. It's this sort of like elongated, it's a bit slouchy, it's a very unique shape of bag. It feels somewhat duffely, but a soft interpretation. I sort of heard a lot about it at the time, and then that sort of petered off. I'm like trying to think, like, you know, in 5-10 years time, are we going to be like, oh yeah, the sodden, do you remember the biker bag? Do you remember the biker bag? Have we already forgotten about the biker bag? Forgettable. Louis Vuitton Murakami. By the pure nature of its previous self, this is iconic in the most iconic of the iconics of the iconic. Like, and I think that whether it is the original or the 2025 version, in 10-20 years time, it's still going to be so positively regarded. So, future icon. The Givenchy East-West Antigona. Antigona, classic style, was very, very popular bag at one point. Then it sort of petered off a bit and you could get them in the outlets. And then we now have Sarah Burton in as creative director. And she sort of, you know, has tried to rejuvenate it a little bit in the East-West version. Is this an outlet special? The Antigonas are all in the outlet. I don't know. I've really not heard anything since it's been launched. I don't know if people are excited about it. I've not seen it being talked about. Not that, listen, I've not got eyes and ears everywhere, okay? And I will admit when I'm in the wrong. But I don't think I am here. And I think that might go there. The Gucci soft bit. Again, this is a design team piece, much like the Gucci Giglio. However, I don't know if, again, this is sort of within the same design story as Demna's new Gucci. I wouldn't be surprised if this sort of gets kicked to the curb a bit, but I'm not entirely sure if it's an outlet special. So I'm going to put her in forgettable. The Chloe Paddington. Again, another re-edition of a 20-year-old bag, 2005 Chloe Paddington. It was the bag. It was the coolest. All the cool girls were rocking it. It was the bag to have. They've now done it for 2025. And whilst I do feel that there was somewhat of a buzz about it, I'm not sure it hit the same. It sort of feels similar to the Fendi Spy bag in that it's like, was this the right time? Was there a gap here that we wanted to be filled by this bag? I don't know, I'm sort of between, is it forgettable? Is it? Oh dear. Let's end with the Celine new luggage tote. Once again, another re-edition. Are you seeing a pattern? But this has a very different look to the original. This one is much more elongated. The leather itself is a lot softer, so it's a lot less structured of a bag, and it's going to move sort of differently. It's got different closures. There's a differentiation there from the original that I think works in a way that they both feel like similar but different. They don't feel the same. And also, I think that it ticks a lot of the boxes that people might have had issues with the original. It's also going to be a lot lighter than the original because that leather's lighter. I was going to say I don't think it's a future icon because I think that the original still sort of holds that place. Then again, I've just said that about the Louis Vuitton Murakami. And I will say that with this being the first collection under Michael Ryder, I think that also there's a lot of talk around Michael Ryder and this Celine specifically. It is a very big change from Eddie's Celine, and I feel like this is going to be an era, much like, you know how people are like, oh, I only want Phoebe Philo Celine and whatnot. I feel like this might be the case for this, and therefore, do you want to know what? I'm putting it under a future icon. I am. She's done it. What do you think of my rankings? Have I put some things in categories that they shouldn't be in? You let me know. I am going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And in the words of my father,
If you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye, guys.